So we're going to start a drill set that actually relates to what we were just doing. Is both people have a lot of opportunity to study and to learn. One of the big things we're going to get out of this is you're going to learn how to see when the attack comes. Right? It's nice if you could see it, then you can deal with it a little better. And then the person throwing the strike is going to study on how to make it as invisible as possible. So, Clarence, place your feet wherever you're comfortable, and then you're not allowed to use your feet. All right? You're not allowed to move. I start out here because he can't possibly hit me from here. I study him. I see that he's relaxed. Your job is, as I come forward, whenever you think you can, is to strike me as hard as you can. My job is to avoid. So as I start to move forward, still at a range where nothing's really happening. As I start to come in, now he starts to calculate. And I can go back and forth. I can use my arms. I want to move. See, now his breathing just changed a little bit. So I start to see, the more desire he has, the easier it'll be for me to see. But even then, I'm looking, and he's got those long albatross arms, so I got to be aware of that. As I start to go back, now I'm out of the range, his whole body relaxed. So I'm studying just how to come back and forth, right? And changes. You do know you're supposed to hit me, right? Mm-hmm. See the shift?
Hell yeah.
But actually try to hit a couple sometimes, right?
I was ready to.
There, right? And he should try to hit hard, right? For one thing, it's hard, it's difficult to hit with a lot of force and not telegraph. Right. And so we're in, and so first I can start with my hands down, and then we can start adding some other things in. It helps when I look at him is to focus on the outline, right? I can look at his face, maybe that helps, but if you focus the outline, soft eyes, right?
Damn.
Right, so now Clarence comes at me, right? So now I'm doing 2 or 3, and I can start with my hands down, which makes it more difficult, or I can just be up. I'm not trying to win the drill, so if I sit here and I'm like this, and then I'm hiding the motion, but so what? Neither one of us is learning anything. So I can move some, but I want to really kind of be as calm as I am. So I want to study, okay, he's at a range now where I can reach him, but is it the best range for me? Do I start to feel, oh, I can get him, or do I just wait? Right? I just shifted, right? Because I was thinking, and then his motion made me adjust when I shouldn't have. Right? Have fun. We'll do that, and then we'll start looking at some details to this whole drill.
I didn't.
Oh, all right. So the next piece to this is, as I come forward, I'm learning obviously how to read his intent. Hopefully, as it gets closer, maybe I can see that. But it would be really cool. What if I can trigger his strike whenever I want? I may not be able to do it every time, but this is what we're going to start to practice. So at this range, there's no intent. As I start to move forward, he's starting to think now. He's studying the range a little bit as we're in. I can do certain things with my body, right? So now as I get skinny and I get closer, right? But as I back up, if I start to get wide, now I've changed the range, but visually I'm looking bigger. Or what if I'm wide and then as I start to get skinny, as I back up, I can sometimes get him to throw the strikes when I want. Or as I'm here, I leave my distance and I shift forward. So now I appear to be closer than I am. And through all of this, so make sure you're going to do some strikes. Don't worry about trying to get them perfect, but just so we have something to work with. I'm in. I start to see he's just shifted forward, right? And he's looking at it. Now the intent's coming. Yep, it's there, right? And so if I can, and I can also use my hands. We can both use our hands. So as we're in, I can have my hands at one range, right? And as I get closer, I can pull my hands. Now they're in nice and close, right? I can leave them in back up, and I'm starting to mess with his visual. And through all of this, sometimes I can get him to strikes. He's thinking right there with the right. And we're in. So I'm just sharing this side of it, but there's things that guy can do, and we'll do that in the next clip. So now, as I'm moving forward, just start to play with that. Think about your body and how I can make myself look closer or farther away. And sometimes even it can be, and I get him right to that point where he's really thinking about it. Sometimes just something sharp can trigger him, right? It could be even a movement there, but start playing with how can I encourage him to strike when and where I want. May not be a high percentage of the time, but through all of this, we're learning to read, and the more you can read the person, the easier it all gets. So
Control intent.
Yeah, see intent and then control the intent, right?
It makes sense to me too. Like it's more difficult for me in this setting, but like when we're sparring, it's way more obvious because everybody's got so much to pay attention to. They can't like completely mask everything that they're thinking. It's more obvious in person. So that comes out from smart.
And this is a very sterile environment because I know the strike is coming. He knows there's no strike coming for me at this point in the drill. We can keep adding to all of that, but it also, because it's very sterile, he really gets to study himself inside, right? And it's difficult. So go ahead, change up partners, work with somebody else. Talk a lot, share a lot. I'm stationary, I'm the striker. So I can start to manipulate him. Can I get him to get closer to me than he wants to without realizing it? So as we're here, I'm this way. As he starts to work, see how much closer he got? Yeah. I changed the range. I set, this is the exterior of the range. As he starts to come closer, I can slowly, I can start to pull my hands in. I like to do it whenever he's moving, because that's whenever the range is changing. He doesn't perceive it as much. I can also start to go wider if I want him to come in the middle, or I can go this way if I want him to start to come around to the outside. So I could start to, I do this with you guys whenever we fight. Because I'm lazy and I want you to be closer. And so I pull you in, wham, and then it can work. I can, same thing, I can, so as he's this way, if he backs up, so he's out of range. So now as he starts to come in, I wait till he starts to get a little closer, and then now I'm doing it with my body, right? So I started where I was leaning and I have this bad tension, and he senses that. As I start to pull my body back and the tension goes, he starts to get more and more relaxed and comes forward, and I get him to come much closer to me than he may want to. So I'm manipulating the range, but also tension. As he's out, I can start with a like fair amount of tension in my body, and as he gets closer, if I slowly start to relax it, he gets more comfortable as well. Right?
Good.
So there's a lot of things both of us are still thinking and studying inside. So if I am honest with myself about my tensions and my fears, and then I can start to use those and manipulate it, I can affect the way he perceives what I'm doing.
Mind control.
A little bit. Have fun. Give that a try.
Thanks.
So now we'll put it together. Both have our hands up. It doesn't matter. Jeff is stationary and I'm walking. And I'm trying to, we can both adjust our ranges. You know, maybe I want him to come to the outside so my hands are in, right? And we're, right? So he's thinking, right? And he's even tracking me now. And just, yeah. So now we can start to play the game.
Did Jeff move?
Not yet, not yet. No, he should stay stationary, right? And yeah, if I come from behind him, but from the side maybe isn't a bad thing, right? As we're in, and I can come from this way. Now he's got a lot of tension, so it makes it more difficult. But he doesn't have to face me. He can go from here and swing out this way too. So we're just adding in some different variables, and then we'll start to move. And what you'll find is it's very difficult to take that, what do you like the word you use, a silent step, where they can't see it. So give it a try. Change up partners. Jeff is going to be the striker. He's allowed to take a step. You're allowed to take one step and strike, right? So as I come forward, I'm in, he can do any of the other stuff, and he's allowed to take a step. Because we want to train, do it quicker than, don't worry about being perfect. Right? So now it's already harder, right?
Yeah, because it's the whole body.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Does he have to take a step?
For now, do it because you're studying how difficult it is to take the step. And then it actually gets, this is probably the most difficult. Once we're both moving, then it's easier than this. This is like the most difficult.
It's isolating it.
Yeah, because now he's really got to, okay, I got to make sure the range is right, but I also, how do I move? Right? So give it a go.
Am I right in thinking that, okay, so if I'm here, the goal, as you say, is like move with my body like this.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm probably doing, so the mind is saying he's moving here, so I'm striking with the other hand, kind of maybe there's some distraction going on.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be a strike, so then there's like some kind of like a thinking that's
Possibly.
different.
Yeah, you explore it. Explore it, yeah. In your training. Change up, we'll use Jeff again. So Jeff is stationary. His feet can't move. The twist now is we can both strike. We're both trying to hit the other person. My feet can move, his can't, right? And so both we're gonna have our hands up, and now, but I don't wanna just hit, I wanna avoid too, right? And he's same thing. Now you're allowed to move your feet to avoid, but as we're in, now we're checking the range, we're studying. I'm gonna try not to use my longer arm advantage, but I'm a cheater, so I will. Right? And now you can start to practice on triggering the person. Maybe I want to strike first. Maybe I want to strike second. Right? and just start to play with it this way, right? And I can come in this way. Oh, I got a lot closer, right? Because I'm here, I'm showing him my range, and then as I'm in, I can rock back and forth, and I can also, I'm in. So play with that. This is fun when we both start to hit, right? Give it a go.